fixing up of the house. So when I first found out about this property, one of the big things was it needs foundation work. So because of, that it's in the middle of the construction, I'm not gonna walk everybody around the backside of the house. But that was a big component of this, is half of our repair budget is to do some extensive foundation work. And that was one of the reasons why when I came here, I was like, I'm not gonna even seriously think about buying this unless I have a construction partner that can do it. Eddie can, I found out when I met him here. And then I talked about having, a realtor that I wanted to work with that knew the area. So there is gonna be extensive work in the back. And basically, Eddie, you've already prepped everything. I think
it's ready.
we just have to, unfortunately, one of the things that came up is the owner had a foundation company called Dees and Associates. Unfortunately, the owner of that company has been very backed up. I contacted her when we first closed on this property, which was, I believe, June the 22nd. I only now, this last week, signed an agreement with her to get updated plans. So there is gonna be, we're gonna spend over $100,000, and maybe you can describe the work of what's gonna be done, Eddie, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so basically what we're doing is we're securing the foundation from any kind of erosion or potentially a major a failure of the foundation. So we're anchoring it to the bedrock by using tiebacks. What it is we drill a hole 22 feet deep, and it's embedded into a bedrock about 6 feet. We grout them, and then we secure the foundation to those anchors. And there's 24 of them that are gonna go from this point to where there's no tiebacks. There is existing tiebacks that is securing the house now, but the previous owner did an illegal remodel that was torn down, and it wasn't quite finished.
The one even before James.
Yeah, the one even before James. And when they did the investigation, what it was done because there was a minor landslide in the back. So the county came, they made the owners do that, and to secure the property, we gotta do those tiebacks. But that's.
And then you have to deal with building codes and upgrades and all that. You deal with having permits and.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're working with Becky Dees and Associate. She's the geologist and the geotech. She's the one that's designing the tiebacks.
Wow.
And so we go through that process. Then it goes to the county. The county reviews it, awards us the permit, and then we execute.
There's a lot to it.
Yeah, so, if I would have gotten this property and that wasn't already existing, I probably wouldn't have done that. But there was existing plans. And when I showed it to Eddie, Eddie's like, yeah, this'll work. We just need to have them updated. Unfortunately, it's taken from June 22nd to last week to actually get her to execute, to give me the agreement so she can update it. And then the other part that I wasn't aware of, that Eddie made me aware of, is that I have to hire a geologist. We thought we might have one, but we need to hire one. It's Jim Olson. So that's now ongoing. So he's now in the loop, and we're gonna hire him because I guess he's gonna be the one that sort of goes and gets the permit. He's gonna work with you. Yeah.
So
and the county.
The geologist is the one that verifies for the county, so he's a licensed
So he's certified for it.
geotech. So he does the on-site visual inspections that we do the job right, which protects the owner, protects me, and protects the county.
So you didn't really know that you needed that, so you learn as you go. Oh, I need a geologist, right?
Yeah, that part I didn't know, Liz. Yeah, I knew, that we had plans that were good. Eddie told me even at the beginning we need to update them. That's not costing us much. Okay, then we got to hire a geologist. Not exactly sure how much that's going to cost. I don't think it's going to be a huge increase to our overall budget. So the overall budget, I'll just mention that now, but I'm going to get into it a little bit when I go through the whole rehab process, is over $200,000 to fix the inside. It's about 50-50 inside and then the foundation work. So now I'm actually going to go through the rehab and fix and flip process. So how did we find this property? Part of what we do as real estate investors is network, right? Part of it is either through real estate agents or Facebook or Craigslist ads. Actually, I saw this on Facebook through another real estate investor who also is what's called a wholesaler, where they find properties, secure the contract with the owner, and then sell them to people like me as an investor. The gentleman's name was Marcus Roman. He is pretty active all over, not only just the Bay Area, but here, Santa Cruz County. He works in the Central Valley. And when I first saw it, when I took a look at it, because I've been doing this for a little while, I thought, you know what, this one might be worth going to look at. And because I've been doing this for a while and networking, I literally get at least a half a dozen properties every single day, direct to me from all of the networking sources that I have, whether they're a real estate agent or a wholesaler or other investors, because I've had some investors who are like, Tom, I've got 3 other things going on. I can't handle this one. Are you interested? Maybe I am. In this case, for this specific property, it was through a wholesaler. He didn't want to buy it for a flip. He did it specifically for selling it. And wholesalers, as kind of the name implies, they're the middleman between the owner and then the new owner. So they get a fee for doing that. So I paid a fee of about $50,000 to the wholesaler to buy the property. And of course, I have to take everything into consideration. And did it make sense? It made enough sense for me to contact Valerie, who contacted Eddie, to come here and take a look at it. So high level, when I did the numbers, it was worth coming out here to look at it. And then when we did the walkthrough, and I got an idea from Eddie on, the foundation costs and then the rehab of the home, then it made even more sense. And talking to Valerie and talking with Eddie, okay, we can make this work. So basically, I did a preliminary deal analysis. We're actually going to go through my final one on the whiteboard in just a few minutes. So that's how we found the property. I talked about the first visit. So from my first deal analysis, when I went through here, I got some numbers. I got actually a repair estimate from Eddie. Got an idea what Valerie, she gets her commission, right? She's going to be the real estate agent that sells this property for Strong Bros. Right? I don't own this. Henry and I don't own it in our names. It's through our company. That's something else that we could get into. But one thing that I've learned from the beginning is if you're going to buy something for business purposes, don't buy it in your name. It opens you up to all kinds of personal liability. So we use our company as a limited liability company.
So you have to
LLC. You need to form a business
you need a
entity.
fictitious. You got to do something through.
You create an entity, and then you have a name,
Okay. And you said an LLC.
Yeah, a limited liability company, yes. So once I did you could say, final deal analysis, okay, is this thing going to make money? Then decided, okay, I want to make an offer. So then I told Marcus, I'm interested, I want to make an offer. At that point, I needed to find a lender. Now, we already kind of had one already that we had worked with before. They're called Lending Home. I had worked with them through another investor on a deal that we did with another investor in San Jose last year. So we weren't directly involved with them at that point, but we got to know Lending Home, and in particular, a gentleman named Julius Mendoza, who is, Lending Home is one of the big hard money lenders in the United States. So we hadn't worked with them directly, but we had worked with them indirectly. So once I made the offer and I was able to secure Lending Home as the lender, right, I had to go through the whole loan application process. Wasn't too bad, but basically, got to give them information about the repairs, my deal analysis. They independently check everything to make sure, okay, looks like, yeah, you're going to make money, which means you're going to be able to pay us our loan back. And so we originally were going to borrow from them 85% through them, and then I had to raise through our own funds and then other people. So I mentioned private money lenders before, and I mentioned our oldest brother is an equity investor. So we raised just under $200,000 through private money sources and our brother, who was an equity investor in this, and then some of our funds to fund the deal. So that's how we actually funded the deal. Primarily hard money, so 85% of the purchase of the house, 100% of the rehab, and then we needed to come up with another about $200,000 to cover all the other costs, including some of our other money. So then once we signed the agreement and we found that the lender would do the deal, we had to do what's called an earnest money deposit, which is basically just to secure the offer. And then we basically go through the process. I think it closed we tried to do a quicker close because we were using hard money. We tried to do it in 14 days. It ended up taking 21 days. One major hiccup that occurred, I won't go into all the gory detail. It caused a lot of turmoil for Henry and I, and we actually thought we might lose the deal and our earnest money deposit. Long story short, when I thought I was supposed to sign that I was going to buy, or the company was going to buy the property, the lending company told me, and they're a bigger lending company, so they have all these different departments that look at things. If you work with a smaller hard money lender, you might just deal with a couple people. This is a bigger company, so it's like most big companies, everybody has their little jobs that they do. So it went to their underwriting department. Their underwriting department came back and said, this is a rural property. Yes, it is. You guys knew that from the beginning. The people I dealt with, Julius and another gentleman named Anthony. I said, well, what does that mean? That they're saying it's rural. We might not be able to do the loan. I was like, excuse me? You're not going to be able to do the loan? What I'm thinking I was supposed to sign today? So we had to jump through all these hoops. The loan changed. I literally had to drive on a Friday all the way to Folsom to try to keep expediting the process. Part of what was happening is that owner James McCoy, he was trying to buy another property, so we were maybe going to jeopardize his deal.
I know him.
Yeah. So it got crazy. It got really crazy. We were, the way you have to look at it when major issues come up, it's a challenge that has to be solved. I remember talking to Valerie. That was the advice she gave me. You can get it done. And I did, because we're here now. But during the time, it was about a week, when Henry and I first found out about it, it was not easy to take. On the plus side, after all of that, right, they caused us a lot of consternation and 4 full days of blood, sweat, and tears. We got to where I could sign again. So you could say that lending home, we didn't really like them during that period. Really didn't like them. But right at the end, before I was driving to Folsom, they told us what the new terms were. So originally the loan was going to be 1.5 points and 8% interest. They did us a solid because of all of the issues that they put us through. We got the loan for 6.5%, annual interest only 1 point. So that half point difference saved us literally over $3,000. And from 8% to 6.5% annual interest on the money that we're going to borrow is probably going to save us another $3,000 or $4,000. So yes, they caused us a lot of grief, but they did the right thing. And they didn't tell us they were going to do that. They were a good partner because he even told me later, Julius, I want to keep you. We know you were unhappy for a while, so we thought we needed to make it up. And so they did.
If the margins are good, why does it being rural or not matter?
Their underwriting
It
department.
matters.
Does it?
Yeah.
Mortgage brokers, particularly hard money brokers, are very skeptical about lending in rural areas because it does not have the same guaranteed sale return that something in a city has.
So
And many of them will not touch anything that they consider
it's
rural.
considered-
Even they may consider a half mile outside of town
Yeah.
rural.
So supporting what Valerie just said,
Oh.
they wanted more comps. So I had to go to Valerie, get me more comps. Get me actual referrals of foundation work that Eddie actually did. So everything kind of just started all over. And actually, the amount of money that we got to borrow through them went down too. So I actually had to raise more money.
Yeah. Was it a 12-month
That-
term or?
I think it's a 6-month
Oh, 6
loan.
Yeah.
But everything changed when they said it was rural. And again, it's because it's a bigger company and it went to their underwriting department and it went sideways. It was extremely stressful 4 days to make it actually happen.
So when Tom said they gave him better terms in the end, what I expected him to say was that something cost him more money, and they offered him less money was the term that changed.
Yeah.
So when you're working with hard money, you are far better off if you can find somebody local, and this is true of mortgages in general. Always work with somebody local if you can, because the further away they are, the less they know about your area, the less guarantee underwriting is going to go through with it.
Yeah.
And with hard money, again, when they start changing terms, it's usually not in your favor. So be prepared to come up with more money one way or the other.
So we had never had to go through anything like that before. And so, using a new vendor could work out well, maybe not so well, or there could be bumps on the road. So one of the things that I'll say that we learned from people that have been doing this before, every single deal that you do is gonna be different. Something is gonna come up that's not unexpected, so you just have to, again, it's a challenge that you have to overcome. So you have to just understand that going in. So obviously, I mentioned earlier, we're probably a little bit less than halfway through the rehab. We're gonna have another property tour in, hopefully, by around the end of September, when the property is completely finished. And you're all gonna be invited back to take a look at it then, when it's all finished and ready to, hopefully it'll be actually on the market and staged and, ready for people to come and take a look at it. So, we're hoping that will be around the end of September, beginning of October.
I think the house will be ready for showing in the front here
Mhm.
by the end of August.
Oh.
September. And then the foundation work is gonna take about
Okay.
30 days because they're so far behind.
Right.
But that's work on the side and on the back.
Right, so,
Probably late September, October then. Early October.
To actually list
no,
it.
we're keeping our schedule.
Oh, okay.
We're keeping our schedule.
So,
We're just shuffling things that we can't do to things we can do.
oh, right.
And so I would have liked to do the foundation work
For-
immediately.
First,
that
right.
was his plan. But
you
Dees
know.
and Associates
Right.
wouldn't get back to me.
Yeah, so you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, you're not gonna twiddle your thumbs, right? Just like, right, okay.
So that's
Eddie-
the-
Right on. Cool,
Okay.
awesome.
So they've
and Tom, I have to leave.
Yeah,
I have
no
another
problem.
appointment.